Boxing Truth here, back with another video. Make sure to smash that like button, like, subscribe, all that good stuff. Alright, let's talk about the most accurate scorecard for Joshua Usyk and what was a really good heavyweight prize fight between Usyk and Joshua. It was a really good heavyweight fight, momentum shifts back and forth. I was actually impressed with both guys. And even though Joshua lost, I was impressed with how he adjusted and even started to figure Usyk out in the middle rounds. And he had momentum going into the 10th round, but Usyk, props to him, man. Yeah, he showed his greatness. He showed he somehow got a second win, and he closed the show in that 11th and 12th round. And dog Joshua in that 12th round. And in my opinion, that's what won him the fight. The most accurate scorecard was Howard Foster's scorecard, 115-113. I honestly saw a very close fight. When I first scored it, I had it a draw, 6-6. I know people will shit on my score, will say, you don't know what the fuck you're watching, you don't know shit about boxing, blah, blah, blah. But I had no horse in the race. I wasn't emotional about my pick. I'm never emotional about my picks. But it was a really good, close fight that Usyk edged. If anybody won this fight, it was Usyk. You can't say Joshua won, but to say you had it a draw or you scored it six rounds for a piece for each fighter, that's not out of the question. I had that same score the very first time. And after watching, because this fight was very easy to score, okay? After the 8th round, the fight was even. 4 rounds apiece. Usyk wins the first 3 rounds. Joshua won the next 3 rounds. Usyk wins the 7th round. Joshua wins the 8th round. Those rounds were completely easy to score. The rounds that was most difficult to score for me was round 9. That was a very tough round to score. It was a swing round. You could have gave it to either guy. I gave it to Joshua the first time I watched it, and that's why I had it 6-6 in terms of rounds for each fighter. But after watching it again, I can see why people will score it for Usyk. All 3 judges gave it to Usyk, and all 3 judges gave the last 4 rounds to Usyk, which sealed the deal for him. He finished the fight stronger, there's no doubt about that. I thought Joshua did win the 10th round, but he lost the 11th round and he lost the 12th round very big. And that's what solidified the fight for Usyk. But to say Usyk dominated, I think that's a stretch. To say that Joshua was thoroughly dominated, that's a stretch. It was a very good fight with momentum shifts. There was adjustments made by both fighters, and the difference was Usyk finished the fight stronger, and he had a second wind. And Joshua fought very well for 10 rounds and got drained in the 11th round. He fought well in the 11th round too. It was a good round, competitive round, but Usyk edged him in that round, and he dominated the 12th, which won him the fight, which solidified the fight for him. But to me, Usyk didn't win by any more of a bigger margin. He won the fight 115-113. Arguably could be made that it was 6-6, but if anybody won this fight, it was definitely Usyk. The rematch will be interesting. Joshua will definitely invoke on that rematch clause. Look, Joshua has to make some adjustments. I don't think all hope is lost. I thought he fought well. I thought he showed a lot with the way he adjusted in the middle rounds of that fight. I mean, Usyk gassed. Usyk lost steam in the middle rounds, and he had to dig deep in those championship rounds to pull out this victory. So to me, now all the hope is lost, but Joshua needs to make some changes. He fought too much of Usyk's fight in this fight last night. He fought too much of a boxing match. I mean, Joshua can box. He showed that, especially in the middle rounds, in the series of rounds that he won. But he needed to be a big man last night. He needed to be the bigger man. He needed to be the more explosive man. He needed to be the more legitimate heavyweight in there. He gave Usyk too much space. He didn't put enough pressure. He didn't use his physicality enough. He didn't tire out Usyk enough, and he didn't take advantage when Usyk did get tired. He didn't big man him. There's some tactics he can use, some big man tactics he can use in a rematch, but we'll see if what Joshua's got, man. He took a beating that 12th round. There's reports of a possible eye socket injury, which is problematic going forward. But if Joshua can dust himself off, regroup, and maybe add someone to his team, maybe get rid of McCracken, maybe McCracken's not the answer for the rematch. But I wouldn't count Joshua out in the rematch. Usyk will be considered the slight favorite. Maybe Joshua will be still considered a slight favorite because the fight most likely would be on his home soil. Usyk's not a big enough draw to generate the type of money Joshua can in the UK if this fight was in the Ukraine, which will be Usyk's dream to finally get that home title defense. But he just doesn't have the numbers to compete with Joshua. The rematch will make sense wherever it makes the most money. But it was a very good fight. The rematch will be interesting. Usyk will be more confident. He knows he can hurt Joshua. So it's going to be tough for Joshua to pull out a victory in the rematch. But if he makes a few adjustments, stop fighting Usyk's fights too much, and maybe employ some heavyweight big man tactics, who knows? Maybe he can turn it around in a rematch. I wouldn't count him out. It will be a very interesting rematch, a very interesting fight. If Joshua loses, though, could be the end. And another L for Eddie Hearn, Matchroom. But you know what? When you fight top fighters like this, when you continue to fight your mandatories who are worthy mandatories, I mean, Usyk, I didn't pick him because I knew the fight, if he was going to win, it would be by decision. And I knew the fight would be close. I didn't think he would get the decision on Joshua's home soil, even if the fight being close. But it turned out to be, it was the best case scenario for him. He hurt Joshua, beat up Joshua in the last round, and the body language of Joshua after the last round pretty much gave it away that he lost the fight, even though it was a very close fight. But even though with the fight being as close as it was, I'm a little surprised Usyk got a unanimous decision. But he definitely, if anybody won this fight, it was Usyk. I'm not saying Usyk didn't win. I'm not saying he didn't deserve to win. But I saw a very close fight, and the rematch will be definitely very, very interesting. If Joshua can employ some different tactics, maybe a new strategy, maybe a little bit of both, because he did fought well in that fight. But it was a good fight. Usyk proved his greatness, proved that he belongs at the top level at heavyweight. He showed me nothing in his first two fights at heavyweight. That's why I didn't pick him. Didn't think he would get a decision in a close fight, which it was on Joshua's home soil. But he proved me wrong. Congratulations to him. He's a great fighter. And he's already solidified his ticket, man. He's a Hall of Famer in less than 20 fights. Undisputed cruiserweight champion, a road warrior, goes to your backyard and takes your soul. And he took Anthony Joshua's soul in that 11th round. Joshua had nothing left in the 12th, was completely drained at the 11th round. And Usyk won the fight, man. Big props to him. He's already solidified his greatness. And he came through in his legacy fight, man. Good for him, bro. Good for him. This is Boxing Truth. I'm out.